Good morning everyone, welcome to another episode here, Learning by Doing channel, aboard the fine ship Schehelion. We're up early this morning to get a start on things because it's so damn hot here at the moment. It's the start of the rainy season and it's just like, wow, heavy. And yeah, it's about 7:30 now, but we're already sweating, but it's going to get worse. So we're trying to get through what we need to do today pretty early. And that involves climbing the mast. I'm going to do that first because yeah, it's nice and calm now, as you can see, very good. And the reason we're doing that is because we're going to be moving. We're going to be sailing a lot more in the next couple of months. We've got a whole route through lots of different islands and we're going exploring awesome places that none of you have seen before probably. Maybe no one in the whole world's seen before. We're going to get new stuff. Maybe a bit overkill there, but anyway, that's the plan. So I want to check the rigging. I want to check the furler on the head sail. We're going to take the sail down, grease the furling bearings at the top and the bottom. As I said, climb the mast, check all the rigging up there, and I'm going to clean the sail, clean the track on the mast so the sail goes up and down easier, spray a bit of juice on that. And yeah, basically just get all that stuff ready because, you know, we don't want any failures when we're out in the ocean. So we're going to show you all that, and also we climbed up this mountain over there behind us. You can't see it, but you'll have to trust me, it's over there. And we visited this tribe that lives up there, and they live in these sort of raised pole houses, and they make clothes out of bark. Interesting, eh? Anyway, follow along here, enjoy the ride. Alright, got all my gear, got my climbing harness. It's not a bosun's chair, but it's a pretty good thick one. Got it in Australia. It's for I think high access, like people working up on poles and things. Pretty good strong robust things. This rope to tie around the mast to lock myself off, and when I get to the top I actually hook it onto the crane at the top and then just lock it so I can't fall. I got my cleaning stuff and all that ready to go. Now my method for going up the mast is I basically just climb. I pull myself up and Marie just pulls the slack on this. This is the safety. That way I can sort of rest in between each pull, but she doesn't wind me up like I see other people doing, just winding. It's not that hard to pull yourself up the mast if every time you sit down you're not having to hold yourself, and it's way faster. I'm up there in 3-4 minutes, whereas winding is just an ongoing, just I mean, if you've got an electrical winch obviously it's different, but anyway. Let's do this. Okay guys, made it up to the top of the mast. As you can see, it's always a good view up here. I quite like being up here, especially when it's calm like this. Obviously changes a bit. Oh, getting itchy nose up here, it's a bit of a bugger. Obviously changes a bit when there's a bit of a wave action and you're flying around, but yeah, it's a nice view and nice and calm up here. Look at that, beautiful. All the way down there. Where are you, babe? Yeah. Give us a wave. Can't see you, you have to come out to the side.
I am preparing your rope.
Ah, okay, here she is. Alright, well I've checked all the rigging on the way up. I liked it on the way up because then you just get a bit of a break from climbing as well. Everything seems in ordinal. There's a bit of chafe here you can see. This rope here is the topping lift. It's not super vital or anything, it just holds the boom up when we're not sailing. But this chafe here is caused by, basically this pulley is the top of the mainsail, and the new mainsail, which I've changed now, swapped back to the old one to finish that one off, but the new one was about 20 centimeters or 10 centimeters taller than the old one. So what I think is this pulley here is coming up higher with the new sail, and it's just been rubbing on this, so there's a bit of chafe there. You can see it's not deadly, but the thing is it's chafed through the, I guess, the UV protection, you would say, and it's Dyneema inside, which isn't as good in UV. So it's something I'll have to look out for. If it was the backstay, for example, I'd be changing it out right away, but it's not so bad. I might just actually wrap some tape around it for now just to keep the UV off it. But this is the sort of thing that you look out for when you're up here, though. You chafe on everything, like the top of this is the main halyard. Just check through the bolts there, and this is the backstay. The backstay is also not super important on this boat. It's not structural because of the swept spreaders. It's a bit like a cat. It doesn't need a backstay. The backstay is actually just to shape the mast, to pull the mast back a bit, to tighten the head sail and things like that. But yeah, you still don't want it to break, really. But yeah, other than that, that's the point of being up here, is to check all this stuff. I'm going to clean the sail track here on the way down. I haven't done it this season. We just lubed it from the bottom as we were pulling the sail up. So I'm going to clean this on the way down and spray silicone on it. It just helps with pulling the sail up, especially for Marie. It just makes it all a bit lighter, and yeah, it's always easier to have less friction on things. So I just use Mr. Muscle, try and hold on here and do it, and just spray it on the track, and it runs quite a way down and sort of pre-dissolves any dirt and dust and stuff. And then put that back in my bag, and then yeah, use an old pair of a rag, in this case an old pair of underdacks, and then yeah, just give it a good old clean out down the groove. This is the groove that the sliders are in, and then can of silicone. It's best to use silicone, good silicone. If you use any sort of WD-40 or lubricant that's oil based, and you'll actually attract dust. Dust will stick to the track and it'll actually make it worse than it was. So yeah, silicone's pretty good, or there's a few other. You can use a graphite powder as well, but this is, you can sort of get it everywhere in Indonesia. It's pretty good. And then yeah, just spray this. Spray that up and down, job done. And then yeah, I just do a couple meter section at a time, and then Maria will drop me down a couple of meters and I'll do another section. But yeah, we're getting there.
So now we're gonna lubricate the jib, because the last time we had to furl, we felt it was a bit like less smooth than normally. So I'm gonna pull the jib out, and Vernon gonna put it down, and we're gonna lube everything to make it more smooth.
All right, back down on deck. It's always good to have the solid feel under your feet again. But yeah, nice to get that done up there. Although, the rigging, well, it's what, nearly 4 years old now, I guess, but it's just good it's a good feeling to sail off and know for the next, well, just know that you've got the level now. There's no broken strands up there. All of the swages and that looked good, and all the shackles and pins and all that looked really good. And yeah, I got the sail track nice and lubed and ready to go. So that's that ticked off. At the same time, I checked the area, or the VHF area, which is also the AIS, and checked all that. So yeah, we're ready to go. Now we're going to get stuck into the getting the sail down and lubing the bearings on the furler.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's good?
That's good, alright, you can let it down now. Okay, we're going to lube this top furler bearing. You see how it's not really turning freely? So a lot of salt and dust and stuff gets in there, and so I'm just going to spray some lubricant in it first and then grease it. See, already that, look at that, big difference. So when you're trying to furl in 30 knots of wind, any extra resistance you've got at the top or the bottom, I mean it's already hard enough to furl by hand in a strong wind, right? But any extra resistance just makes it that much harder. And for Marie trying to furl, if I'm sleeping, this makes a massive difference. Look at that, I mean, that's before greasing, but it's already so much better. So that's sort of something you can do 2 or 3 times a season, really. So now I put a bit of WD-40 basically in there. Just going to clean it off a bit and try and get a rag down in there and just rub some of that out, and hopefully some of the dirt will come out with it. And then I'll put some grease in there. Yeah, look at that, that's so much cleaner than it was inside there now. So I use this winch grease in here basically. So I'm not sure it's the right grease, but it's probably is because it's for the boat bearings and things. And yeah, you basically just squeeze it in. There's a bit of a notch in here. This is a Furler system, but they're probably all the same. There's a bit of a notch in there, and you just squeeze it in and then just turn this around and make sure you've got grease everywhere. And the same at the bottom, there's a notch here, and you just squeeze it in. There's two lots of bearings, one at the top, one at the bottom. Okay, job done. That's the top one done. Now we're going to do the bottom one. It's a bit of a bigger job, the bottom one, but all good. Okay, so I've taken this cap off. It meant that the foil came down a bit, so I'll have to, you can see these holes there, that's got to line up afterwards through these holes, but that's okay. Here is the top bearings. So you just squeeze grease in there basically, and that grease is the top bearings, and there's another one on the bottom, which is really hard to film, but just trust me on that one. And that just turns this one. This one doesn't feel so tight as the top one did actually, so it's not so bad. Whew, it's about 45 degrees now, I'm sweating my head off. But we finished all that, that's good. Everything's back together, everything's moving freely. We feel safe with the rig and the sails. Checked over the head sail while we had it down. And yeah, a couple of locals here came over and helped us out to put everything back together.
Yes.
Amir? Kan. Okay.
And Indonesia alor kadela.
Yeah, the locals here from Kalabahi, from Alor. Fishermen, mancing.
Mancing no, yes. Jaring pukat.
Yeah, fishermen from here. So they came over in their little blue and green boat that has a YouTube sign on it, which is pretty cool. And yeah, they're super curious on what we're doing, climbing up the mast and all that sort of stuff. But they're super friendly, and yeah, good to hang out a little bit. They invited me over to drink soppy tonight, but I don't know if I'll go or not. We'll see later.
Good morning, everyone. Today we are in Alor, and our friend Eki proposed to us to go in a region in mountain called Kabola, because last time we went here we heard about a village who are doing clothes with bark, but we didn't find it when we were by ourselves, and it was the wrong timing. And now it's the weekend, so we're gonna go there and visit this village. I'm gonna take my rain jacket because it's rainy season. We're starting here. There's a lot of chance that in mountains we're gonna be wet. And yeah, I hope it's gonna be a nice adventure.
Bye bye. So the trip up to Kabola takes about 45 minutes by motorbike, and it sort of winds up through the forest and farming, and it's very lush and green, and yeah, it's pretty cool. You probably know from past videos we really love just renting motorbikes and cruising around, like not necessarily to tourist locations. We just like riding around and driving through villages and waving to people and watching the landscape go by. Anyway, we got up there, and it's sort of been threatening to rain the whole way, and obviously as we just arrived it started raining quite heavily, but yeah, we got invited under the shelter of one of the beautiful traditional houses up there, and they even made coffee for us, and the guys were smoking, and we started just chatting. And Eki, our friend, was his father was actually from this village, and so he knew the guys here, spoke their language, and so he was really translating, and they were telling us a lot of traditions and magic and things like that, and it was really cool. It wasn't a sort of a normal tourist location at all.
Harus ucap supaya ingatan kamu tetap pada kita.
Yeah.
Ini
Betul. Ilawe.
Ilawe.
Jadi Ilawe itu ada di situ itu yang 2012 itu kopi bunga dan itu gudang sebelah itu rumah adat sebelah itu udah punya ini kita kasih alangan dia kasih naik kasih orang pakai kerja kita proses ini kayu kulit kayu ini potong dari pikul dari hutan masuk sampai sini semua.
One thing that's really cool in Indonesia, where people live traditionally, there are just fruit trees and vegetables and things growing on the land literally everywhere you look. Here, Marie has found a cacao tree and ripped open the fruit, and it's really like natural candy from the jungle. Pretty amazing. The guys here in the village are in the process of rebuilding one of their traditional pole houses. No screws, no nails, no electrical tools used. All of the stuff is just bamboo, some hardwoods, some coconut leaves, you know, just all stuff that they find around, and that's what they've always had. Pretty cool to watch them working. Kabula is well known for its bark clothing. Basically, they take bark off the special tree and they pound it and pound it and pound it and rinse it and pound it, and it turns out sort of like a sort of supple fibrous material, and they'll make clothes out of it. And so we got to try it all on. That was a bit of a tourist sort of thing, but it was pretty cool just to see how it works. It was funny.
I don't know if it's gonna be super practical to sail with this.
Not good on the boat, you
outfit.
think?
I don't think, no. So recently our fridge and freezer just died. The start of this season, this year when we came in April in Indonesia, we had some trouble with the electricity. It was using more electricity than normal. So we just tried to understand if it was something with the cable or the batteries. And in fact, the compressor, it's a Danfoss one, was probably 15 years old. It was from the building of the boat and just died. So that was bad news for me, more for me than for Vernon. Vernon was ready to say, okay, we can continue our trip without a fridge. And for me, if I am super okay to live in a simple way, about the food and the fridge, I can't really imagine to live without. So yeah, that was
Because of all your cheese.
because of all my cheese, yeah, probably. No, but even, you know, when you are cooking something, if you don't have the right amount and you have still some left over, like it's always good to keep things. And even with the vegetables, I don't want to go to the market every day to have fresh things. So yeah, fridge is a bit basic to have on the boat, I think. So yeah, I was a bit depressed the day we just realized it was not possible to fix it. You know, in Indonesia, it's super complicated to find this kind of piece. So luckily, our friend Greg and Kix came the day after. They joined us in Alor, and they had a spare fridge, a 40 liters camping one, then we can open from the top. And we are running this one from the inverter, so it's not a 12 volt anymore, but it seems to run pretty good, and we have enough energy and electricity for the rest, so it saved a bit my life on board.
So the next step on our fridge story will be when we get to a next big city. It might be Sarong in a few months, but my first thing was, well, just order a new Danfoss compressor system and use this whole thing. But now I'm sort of considering, I was anyway planning on upgrading the AGM batteries to lithium at some stage later this year probably. These batteries are still okay, but they are starting to slow down. They're 5 years old now. So if I go lithium batteries, and this one is running off the inverter 24 hours a day, it's only 40 litres, but if we went with lithium batteries and have a bit more and they charge faster, all that stuff, I'm thinking possibly of taking this whole old unit out and just putting in a stand-up fridge, 220 volt fridge that you can buy at the electronics store for $200-300, and just running it off the inverter. So it sort of seems you lose a bit of efficiency through the inverter, but instead of spending $1,500 on a compressor, you spend $300 on a fridge. And the newer technology fridges these days are pretty efficient and well insulated, so it's probably going to be about the same, and it's just much easier than all this stuff, it's all custom made. If there's any problems with it, you can't find parts anywhere. It's all a hassle to get to. It's all built in beautifully, but when you have a problem, it's a big problem. So these are the two things. Maybe you guys out there have done that. Give me some feedback in the comments. That would be pretty cool if you've just had these sort of stand-up normal house fridge freezer units and running them off the inverter through the batteries. Yeah, give us some tips below what you think about that. Okay, so a little side story here. We rented a motorbike while we're here, and Greg and Kick have been using it too to go and get fuel and food and laundry and stuff. And we left it just here at a little restaurant, Resto Mama's, and left it there overnight. And the last couple of days we've just left it there, no problem. And then Greg and Kick went to use it just now. G'day guys.
Yeah, bit of bad news, mate.
What's happening? What's going on?
Motorbike's missing.
So yeah, like, it's been stolen, this is shit. Nothing's ever been stolen off us since we've been here in nearly 4 years, but yeah, it's been stolen. So I contacted the owner, I contacted some other people that I know around here, and then, because we're leaving tomorrow, and we're like, oh, it's going to be a hassle with the police and the poor owner. It's not a rental company, it's just this random guy that we know who rented us his motorbike. And we didn't know if he had insurance, and it's just one of those things. You're like, oh, it's going to disappoint people, and we're going to have to deal with all this now. So I just thought, we had these two local guys in the boat 10 minutes before, Amma and Khan, and they just live here. So I thought I'll rip over in the dinghy and just ask them if they've seen anything. So I went over there, and there's about 20 guys sitting around there in a little stand, and I sort of went in there with my basic Bahasa and, did anybody see a blue Honda Beat? It was here last night and it's gone this morning. And they sort of hummed and hawed and looked around, and then one of them was like, ah, I know. And I was like, oh, that's coincidence. Did you steal it? It's just a Western way of thinking, maybe. It'd be suspicious. But anyway, so I jumped on the back of his bike and we went off down the road and we pulled up at this other house and went in, and then an old guy came out and they talked a bit. I didn't understand what they said. And the old guy walked me into his garage and there was the motorbike. So anyway, what had happened was they were worried that our bule, white person motorbike, was parked in a not very safe place, and they wheeled it into their garage so it wouldn't get stolen. So it's a good lesson. Don't always be suspicious and think the worst. These guys were looking out for us, and who knows, it might not have got stolen, but it didn't get stolen and we got it back, and very grateful. So it's a good ending to that little saga. Okay guys, well I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please consider subscribing. It helps us out a lot, not just for our egos getting the subscriber numbers up, but it really helps with the algorithm and us getting found, our channel getting found, and YouTube promoting us. So yeah, it's pretty easy. Just hit the button down there and also hit the notifications bell. That way you get a little message when we put a new video out. So that all helps us, and you can do that for free. People who are not doing things for free and who are also really helping us out. We wouldn't be doing this without you guys, the patrons. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Tip of the cap to you guys and girls, lovely people, all of you around the world. Very appreciated. We really look forward to hearing you guys' feedback on the videos and on the Signal group. And yeah, we wouldn't be putting this time and effort in to making these videos without you. It's a lot of gratitude and motivation and inspiration coming from you guys, and we really appreciate that you enjoy what we're doing. That's the main thing, that feedback that you guys are really liking what we're doing and what we're making every week. So yeah, we enjoyed this video. A bit of work, a bit of play, no work, no play makes the boy a sad something or other, I don't know. But yeah, we work hard, we get to keep the boat ready, keep everything shipshape, but then we'll go and enjoy things and see culture and everything, and that's what we've done. It's just another insight into what we do each week, here on the good ship Schiehallion. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye bye.